07191004. They want to be babied, but it's not the same for us as women. Does your partner take care of you as a woman when you are sick? And if you agree that you want to be babied, that your husband needs to be babied, what do you think that is? Kanzina, my Adrian in Hatfield, indikawara ndoita mucheche chaiye kutoti dai ndagara hangu ndichihwara nekuti ndinenge ndichiitirwa zvese nepoliswa chaiko. This is my Adrian. My Adrian, you are lucky. Mera chiko wamakaroorwa nayo ni my Adrian. Zvikai true. Men are decision makers. Oh my dear. When you do type, kindly try not to write shorthand so that I can also figure out what you're saying. But you say, true, men are decision makers in the house, meaning he is the head of the house. Saka vakaita flu baba mumba, mukasa mira. You see, there goes the shorthand. I get lost and then the message gets lost. So, 0719100404. Talk to us. What is this about? Why is it that when men get sick, you guys become babies? When a man says he's sick, it really means he's truly sick. We want to keep hearing from you as men. Tonde coming in from Zengeza. How are you? Folake. All right. We want to understand, where does this thinking come from? I was telling you, we do say love conquers all, right, but that is not what the research says. We're going to talk about that in a second.
What's the make number 4?
All right.
Folake.
I was hearing you fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so maybe my headphones aren't very loud, maybe.
Okay. Or do I have to shout into the microphone? I think also let's classify the diseases.
So here's what's interesting. Studies show that women are more likely to be abandoned by men or their partners when they are sick. In fact, there was a study that was done that found that when a woman is diagnosed with a serious illness, so let's say breast cancer, right? Mm-hmm. She is 6 times more likely to be left than a man with the same diagnosis. 6 times more likely. And this is not all. Get this. While 21% of seriously ill women in the same study ended up divorced, only about 3% of the same men ended up divorced.
Okay.
And this is not where it ends. Ay. The research also says women are more likely to stand by their husbands when illness hits than men are going to do with us. So what do you think this is about? Why is it that our men are more likely to leave us when we are ill than we are to leave them? 21% of women who had a serious illness in a certain study ended up divorced. Women are 6 times more likely to be left by their significant other because of a serious illness. Ay. What do you think this is about? 0719100404. Why do you think this happens? Tonde listening in from Zengeza. Ku GV7 muri kuzvita kwere zvezvizvi zvokuti madzimenyu akahwara muri kuvasiya kopa mufombi apa. What's the story there? Let's talk about this. Maijuju, your story. What do you think is going on?
Okay, so as much as men are not really built for caregiving, I think it's like shock or panic, and also lack of awareness. So depending on the type of disease, like for instance, if you don't know what it is, or if you assume you know, Kajinji, we always assume most diseases lead in death. They do. Well, some people can be treated, but obviously emotional support is very important. Because ndoku no tangirachi kupora kwachona at first. You know, when you're not feeling well,
yeah,
pauya Folake kuzokuona, pauya Chedza kuzokuona, you start to feel a bit better because you're seeing familiar faces, you know, and you try to be strong because you're not feeling well. But kana wako wakuti ndiye wako. Paul kuti kurwara tita madrinks, my business trips, anonga kudzoka kumba, and you see nopanobva paita movie dzimwe hama to take care of you in the event your partner is not available, and hama they don't actually do a good job. Saka Maijuju varipi, you know, and you're trying by all means to be strong. But yeah, you know, he's not here. Yes, even the muripo, if you're not going to wait kurwara,
so outside my Adrian, who says, "Ina ngunda to garanshi, okara no tindo chengi to kanza kana to feed, wando feed, vari go get filled." My Adrian do zeti maka when you muera chiko makama wane because you know feed. But as you're listening in, as a woman, we're checking with you. How does your man treat you when you are unwell? Maijuju, how does he treat you when you are unwell?
The two incidents I had. Okay, so I was pregnant, and you know that thing about babies moving in the tummy, blah blah blah. So I had been given a free dental check because I was referring people to a particular dentist place. So then I'm like, you know, doctor, what said I should come for a free clean. She comes, a free clean. I'm like, yeah. Message you have Vakunda assistant. I went there on like a Friday. But as I was walking, on my right leg. Right. It was mild pain, but I could feel I was in pain. Like, you know, something was building up. Yeah. You know what? I can't even move kumborangu. She can't work it dentist in Nezuro. Guess go mazino. And you know what? I couldn't even get out of bed. Yeah. That's how excruciating that pain is. I remember when I managed to, I had to try and crawl from an zero just to go to the bathroom. Because it was either the bed or the bathroom. And trust me, you know, the bed it doesn't make sense to spoil it. And Usafungroti was there.
Person who's gonna have to clean
he was not even there. Yeah. He left me at home alone. And I was going through all this pain on my own. And when he came back, that's when he cooked. It wasn't the best meal I've ever had, but anyway, I was hungry.
How does your man treat you when you are unwell? We're reflecting on a study that suggests that women are more likely to end up divorced when they face serious illness. About 21% of women in a certain study were found to be divorced because their men couldn't handle their illness, and yet women are more likely to stand by men going through the same illness. In fact, only 3% of women divorce their husband. 3% of women divorce their only 3% of men divorce their husbands, whereas 21% of husbands divorce their wives because of serious illness. And we're trying to figure out what is that about. I thought we said love conquers all till death do us part, but why is it that men aren't able to love us through illness? It sounds like it conquers all before you are in the situation. So it's easy for us to comment from the whatsoever. Taking care of that person, because you know you are in that problem because of that person. So it's easy for us to say, because I was such a in that situation. Got you. Yeah. So as a woman, how does your man treat you when you are unwell? My Tammy, good morning, listening in from Kambuzuma. This is what my Tammy had to say. Hello. Anzi taigara takarindira vaita flu veduwe mchiti pamwe vanga kachidzwa nedzipwa. Katonde, how are you? How many times do you see men at a clinic or church to be prayed for? Pa caring nurturing I agree. Vakadzi ukangonzwa ati ari kurwara nemuviri wese. This is coming in from Tonde. Munyaradzi, good morning. Thanks for tuning in, Munya. Let's hear what you have to say, Munyaradzi, about why men are more likely to leave their partner when she is seriously ill. Okay, for some reason we're not hearing Munyaradzi there. All right, we'll figure out what's going on there. My Jaden Murugoromonze muri say kanzi ndobatwa sezai whenever I get sick. Kana kuti ndisimuke avadi. Ndotoliswa ndakagara. This is my Jaden in Goromonze. I love this for you, my Jaden. Ernest, good morning. Kanzi Folake zviriponde zvekuti ukazoona murume abvuma kuti I'm sick. Zvinenge zvagozha, then mukadzi anozoshandisa her natural caring love kupepa murume wake. Okay, that's fine. I kind of get you. But flu here, andimazviwa kuti flu maitame vataura iyo kuti vachikura vaiona kuti flu chaiyo chaiyo. Imba yaitota sechavhagwa nokuti baba vanenge vagwara. All right, 8663, take a listen to this. The number one reason men leave is because the wife will no longer be able to fulfill their satisfaction in the bedroom. That's the main reason. Just like a woman gets a job overseas, the men can't contain their feelings. They end up having affairs to fulfill their sexual desires. So what mukazorwara unosiwa mfunge, I've witnessed this. Mumwe anotokuendesa kumba kwenyu kuti unopepwa nehama dzako, but when it's the other way around, mukadzi anodzi ungasiye murume nekuti arwara here. Interesting culture dynamics that have come in there. That's the reason why a man, and men, we're checking this with you. Do you agree with this? The reason why you are 6 times more likely to leave your significant other when she falls seriously ill is because she's unable to color with you.
You're making it about coloring. So you know, you just reminded me of a friend of mine. Years ago, he engaged a certain woman.
Disqualifying the statistics by giving us an alternative rather than just saying, do you know what I mean? Like,
women will just be women.
Give us a little bit more. What have you said? Women will always be women. Therefore, what will come through and give us a little bit more? Do you agree with this? That men are more likely to leave their women because she has fallen ill? 6 times more likely, actually. And in a study that happened, 21% of women ended up divorced because their husbands were like, well, she's seriously ill. She can know it's because I've no color. And she also, but Lisa also gave us a very interesting angle there. 8663 Shikai. Pachivan chedu, munona timkadzi, haatendegwe kusiya murume nokuti wahwara, unototarisirwa kuti unofanwa ripo, otherwise unozonzi wangu akafambira mari, akagara asingamude. Asi murume akahwarwa nemukadzi, anotogona kuisa mukadzi musha kwake kuti vanomuchengeta vari ivo. So speaking to culture, 0719-100-404, do you think our cultural expectations as well have a role to play in possibly the statistic in more women who are ill ending up losing their marriage, or men not caring for their wives as much because she's ill? Do you think our cultural expectations have a role to play? Maijuju, what do you think our cultural expectations are of our wives when they're ill? Of our husbands, sorry.
They do have a major role to play, which to a greater extent is not fair. Because you see, it's still looking at it from an angle where a woman is supposed to be submissive, a woman is supposed to take care of their husband. So what happens in a situation where the roles are reversed is the man who's sick and yet the woman is the breadwinner. Tombot. Here, Akasia, like you said, it's wrong. But it's okay for him to leave because she can't color. I mean, coloring is a portion of all the other things she's supposed to be doing within the marriage. Now we've got a man down because she's not well, and it's okay for him to leave. I think we need to revisit those culture things.
And that sounds a bit terrible to hear someone say, actually, to say just because that I'm leaving. She is ill. She's fighting for his or her life, including your children. How do you process that? How do you think cultural expectations what do you think are our cultural expectations of a man when his woman is sick? Vanofanira kuti sevarume ndezveshuwa here kuti vanofanira kutsvaga hama dzinoita kuti mukadzi achengetwe, kana kuti iye murume unofanira kukwanisa kuchengeta mukadzi wake. 0719-100-404. And when you have been sick as a woman, what do you actually expect your husband to do? My agent Martin ndotofidwa bedwe ndotoliswa nesadza lechipakurwa. My time also said the same thing as well. But as a woman, what is it that you are expecting when you are ill? Maijuju, what would you expect when you're ill?
fruit
you're more likely to leave us, 6 times more likely. But also, more importantly, what do you think your expectations should be, or your cultural expectations when your woman is unwell? Mr. G, good morning.
Folake, the way you're saying it is not such a great one. You are putting it as if all men do that. There are some who do it, in as much as also the women do the same. And besides, for those that stay through and endure the sickness, I know, and most men, including you might know as well as a lady, that women don't stay there like because they love. They also are staying there for other things, like what stays behind when this man is gone. That is what makes most of the women to stay. That is their inspiration. Not like they love men too much, or they are better lovers than men. No, that's not it. Just that men are not pretenders at all. They are straight up with the things they do.
All right, Mr. G, I'm not talking about all men. We're talking about the statistics that's saying.
The portion.
When the study was done, 21% of those women ended up divorced. Their husbands left them. That's what we're talking about. We're not saying all men. We're simply saying when you're looking at that statistic, at a study that was done, there is a higher probability that a man who has a wife that is sick is more likely to leave his wife. And we're trying to figure out why. Just looking at that study, not even that we're generalizing, but if there's research that's done, we're trying to understand how this research came about. Help us understand, Mr. G, why do you think that happened? Munyaradzi, how many times did I say your name?
3 times.
Zimbabwe. Africa family issues. Either Munarwara, Nation, condition. This is to see what is out of the water. I write no.
And this is to create a problem because Shoma, so we are actually leaving you. Oh, that's kind of sad. That actually.
And did you hear Detroit, Savannah? That is alcoholic drinks.
Yes, as wives and women.
But for all you know, we've become Jidakwa to tolerate some of these men's issues. When he said Detroit, I thought it was a type of car. I realized, no, it's not a car. You know what? It's heartbreaking. Did you hear what the other person said? Akati, love. Isn't that like a misconception or something? Placenta it's like obvious.
All right, let me go through all the messages that you're sending in so that you can be a part of the discussion. I'll tell you a little bit more about the study, actually. And it was published in a South African magazine, so you can see how close it is to home. And I can actually read it to you in a second so that you can have a full picture of this study about how men are more likely to leave their wives. It's not us, it's them. All right, let's hear what you have to say. Willow. All right, Willow came back to defend himself. Willow, let's hear you.
I don't know, get weakness. They cannot get this thing. Wakadzi wovaone ukadzi hwavo hwavainawo toiti iweakness called this thing, but as men tine ma strength edu nevatinhukadzi vane ma strengths avo. like vanhukadzi like zvekutaura vamwe chetawo kuti vanhukadzi makasikwa muine mastrength enyu kutoti kuchengeta uko kupa care naturally ndo zvamakasikwa muri naMwari. So times kana mukaexpecta imimi kuti varume vagone kuita sevakadzi kugona kuchengeta vana kuti nakana kuchengeta murume zvinogona kutinetsa culturally zvinogona futi kutonge zvisingato iti ende nezvemukutaura futi zveculture ino contribute more to that because tinotongorarama neculture. Vanhukadzi unogona kuchengeta naturally Mwari akakusikeza with that blessing. Varume tino kwedu kwatinogona saka maybe ndinoona sokuti zvinongokonzerwa chete nemasikirwo atakaitwa naMwari. Zvimwewo zvozouyawo tine vanhu vangoita unge dhasti mazuva ano kuti vakangoona mhepo yakangosumbuka yakadai vanongoinda vangasumbuka yakadai vanongotera saka vanenge vasizoriwo femu sevarume kuti vachengetewo vakadzi vavo. Asi ndinoona sokuti izvozvo zvinhu zvakasikwa naMwari zvakadaro saka kuzoti vanhu vorambana murume wotiza handizvozivo zvangu ndofanira kuchiti nyaya yemastatistics apa statistics dzese dzamuri kutaura idzi dzinenge dzakaitwa kazhinji vanhukadzi vofuti mune problem yekuti munoexaggerata kana izvozvo tikarwamba mai vakandirova vanogona kutofunga kuti ndarohwa zotoita kuyeni handina musoro saka don't know hangu pavakadzi kuti karakita yenyu dando masikirwo wandi kutaura ari kuti makasikwa naMwari muine strength kudai strength way zvaya.
You know what, Folake, he said something interesting. So I want to pause. If he was live, I would want him to answer this. Willow, yes, men are muscular. You know, you are the strong type. You are this.
We can call him.
Right. Mume wako arwara. Andizi. Arwara asukona kufamba, asukona kuna kumwa mvura. Chinokutadzisa kuva ne empathy kuti, you know, this is my partner. And then you let go of your hard side, and then you bring about your soft side to take care of your partner. Because tikada ku blame a culture ka iwo uri munhu anogona kutofunga, uri munhu anotogona kutoreason akona kuti mukadzi wangu asikufamba uyu, mukadzi wangu ari kudzikira, mukadzi wangu ari kudairika ndinomutengera ma fruits. Is that caring aspect that we want?
You said a very good word there, a powerful word, caring and nurturing. And I get what he's saying. Women are more nurturing by nature. But empathy has got nothing to do with gender.
True.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Being able to care has got nothing to do with gender. Being able to provide is part of being empathetic, is part of caring. So I don't know, Willow, are we doing ourselves a favor by making your ability to care for the mother of your children, for your wife, about gender? Because you are a man and you have no capacity to care for her. So I'll tell you a little bit more about this study. And this study actually was done around cancer. It was done by the University of Michigan, where they were putting to test this, does love conquer all? And they paid attention to spouses that were living with cancer. I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we're going on. Men, what do you think? Do you agree with Willow that because women are more nurturing, it justifies a man likely to divorce his wife because she has a serious condition? Does that make sense to you as you're listening in? My Tadi and Benny, how are you?
Morning Folake. Inini wangu aienda. Osiya kubikira zvine sadza zvese oisa panzvimbo usingasvikiri usikakwanisa kumuka.
Veduwe.
Vandazomuitirawo izvozvo pakarwarawo. From that day aiwa zvinhu zviripo. Kana ndikatorwara he takes care of me.
So we suppose I'm trying to understand.
You know what?
Yeah.
Relationships or taking care of each other should not be tit for tat. But it eventually becomes that because I'll make sure so you also feel the pinch.
Yeah.
Because this gender also at times does not learn. You'll be there for them. You are sick, they can't do the same. They are sick, you're there for them. They think, you know what? Let me be the bigger person. But you will be a person who will no share basa.
Yeah. That's sounding so sad. kusika ndazomuitira kwezvozvo ndopakazodzidza kuti azvinzemo.
Did you watch the movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman?
Yes. This is a study that's been done. They studied over 2,000 marriages. Why is it, do you think, according to this study, men are more likely, 6 times more likely, to leave their woman when she falls into illness? And in fact, when they studied these marriages, 1/3, 1 in every 3 women got divorced. The husband left the wife because she was ill. And the study that they were looking at was cancer. Hi, Tonde.
Look for like sometimes with men, it's not about not wanting to take care of their partner. Sometimes it's panicking and the lack of experience. Especially us in Africa, we are not really taught how to look after someone or to care after someone. Like you say, kumaumbwe. It's all remedy chimunzi gadzira chimoto chidina. Gadzira chichiba timima wakadzi nango chigadza kachitori. Chikapfekedzwa chikati nana from a young age. It's all remedy chimunzi. Aiwa wenda kubhora enda kumomba mene ko. So you see, when you grow up, we don't even have that nurturing thing in us. But do that thing is in a case. It's not it was what the most don't know chema chego kan gatsa kwachirwara but nyeru dzaudzoka ungo singa cheme zvako mubathroom.
I hear you. In fact, Tonde, we had Mkoma Vengai. Remember Mkoma Vengai vachitudza? Was it Mkoma Vengai and then and Sister Precious, Sister Sharon telling us as well that she'd heard that her husband would cry when she had breast cancer. Why no chema woga, but she never saw him crying. So we hear you. I don't know if the expectation is that you should be nurturing, but kusia ti pasinga shikiri munu Mkoma Tonde.
Even though the theater iripo.
Zvinozoita here Mkoma Tonde. Care ndo yatikutsvaka empathy. Don't even worry about nurturing. You're caring and your empathy. Chisaikatipe kuti munhu anoshikira. Chitoraiwo kamazuva off muchipepana nemunhu wenyu. 0719-100.404. All right, ladies. If you are to teach men right now how we would want to be cared for, and obviously as individuals we're different, right? We get this. It doesn't have to be cast in stone. But what do you think we as women want our men to know when we are ill? Like, how do you think we want them to take care of us? My Adrian, na my time, I don't know. But as you're listening in as a woman, what are some of those things we wish our men, what are the actions we expect from them when we are unwell? Do you want them to tell you that they love you? What is it that we as women expect our men to do for us when we are unwell? Do you expect to color when you are unwell? That's one of the reasons why they're going to leave during that difficult time. Let's go through some more messages. I feel like women stay because they don't pay bills. If a man gets sick, the man's relatives will contribute towards the bills. If a woman gets sick, the whole financial burden falls on the man.
So that's a two-way street. There are times where a person is in a marriage where the husband says, "Anamkazano shanda," and you're sitting at home. So how do they expect you to contribute? Because you can't contribute financially, but you're contributing nekubika, contributing contributing to make sure you know, because everyone has got some form of contribution, financial or not. If just because we can't monetize that, we can't monetize kuwacha makumbezi, we can't monetize kukubikira iwewe because it's your duty, but they're actually doing something.
Got you. Patience, how are you? It's so sad kwando gara pa next bed murumu wacho akutogara ne girlfriend akatiza mukadzi achihwara. Izvozvo mukadzi akutohwara akatorwa nesister yake kunochengetwa. Murume akatiza she was diagnosed with cancer. Aingobuda asina kana kubatsira mukadzi wake. Basa kudzamara atotiza kuenda ku girlfriend. It's so sad. They have 3 children and it's my neighbor Folake.
Hey.
3 children. Mai matipa mahwera here zvikanzi hatingati masikirwe evanhu asi zvinoenda pakukudza kwatinenge takaitwa. Muchaona kuti kune vakadzi vane care, kune vakadzi vasina kana care, kune zvevarume vari caring kusvika pakuwacha zvese nekubika. Munhu akangodzidziswa kuitwa care nomwe wake anoitwa zvisinei negender. This is a very valid point. So our culture and our bringing is coming up into this. My Matipa is dispelling what Willow was saying. This is a biological thing. The biology of a man says he's not nurturing, he's not caring. My Matipa is saying, hold on. The same way you can find a caring woman is the same way you can find a man that's not caring. So
that reminded me of this one time I visited my granny, and the pani film I where in Neighbors, and the guy angakabereka aniga suka I suka ndiro, the wife ashtaura at her side, and then my gogo was like, Sekuru, whenever ngauruma to suka ndiro, and you know what my Sekuru said, hands with jais gogo just sara mnema kuchichinjisa manapke panapa, right? So, and you're thinking, if your partners what's wrong with mwe washing, mwe wiping?
The big machine. And you are from the UZ. Thanks for joining our conversation. You say culture answers it all. This is due to gender socialization, where children are trained according to gender. Boys are not expected to wash plates as girls are expected to do. Gardens. However, due to societal changes, you will find that wives dump their husbands when they suffer from lifetime illnesses. Because the study is suggesting the opposite, that it's the men that are leaving women and not so much the women leaving men. But very interesting points that it's coming back to our culture.
So yesterday or the day before yesterday, we did a homework na Juju ya mudzidzisi wangu, and as we were about to end the composition, akavati we're talking about zvekutsvaira. Ndikavandati munotsvaira kuchikoro, chikanzi titori nema groups atinotochinjana kutsvaira. So to a greater extent that heritage and what that they're doing at school, Juju anototsvairawo. As young as he is, grade 3, now he can sweep because they are doing it at school, which would be a good thing, because in bed Ari that even though he's a boy, he can also sweep. What's wrong with that? So that also contributes to upbringing.
All right, so let me just read through one of the studies. There were actually two. The other one is actually a research paper that was done by, listen to this, Chang Cheng, and the Chinese last name. All right, we'll get to that one. But the one of interest to you, that one we were sharing with, was actually done by the University of Michigan. They looked at over almost 3,000 marriages, and they were studying these marriages over 20 years. Okay. And they found that 25% of these marriages with a sick spouse end in divorce. They also found that women are more likely to be divorced due to chronic illnesses, not 21% compared to men who were left at 3%. Their findings that men are more likely to initiate divorce when their wife becomes ill. Women tend to stay with their husband even though he is ill. They found that married women with serious diseases are 6 times more likely to be separated or divorced. And a woman's likelihood to end up divorced will increase if she develops cancer or some sort of chronic condition.
Which makes her not color.
Yeah. But for women, interestingly, they only initiated divorce due to lack of, listen to this, ironically, due to lack of care and support from their husbands.
So you see how care and support is imperative. It's just a person being there. Even your operation. But that's what's important.
That is exactly what's important.
Someone who holds your hand, I mean, then what would be the point?
So here's also another thought process why men might also leave their wives. So one listener came in and says, no, because they're unable to color. Another thought process, this was also done, this was a diabetic doctor who was also adding his findings to the same report. And he says, also change in appearance will make a man leave his wife.
Sure.
So if she looks different while she's ill, he's more likely to leave his wife.
Okay, so when you say change in appearance, what do you mean? Because normally...
Maybe she's lost her hair.
Well, that's like cancer.
Become thin.
Yeah.
Ausisiri wewe. Pamwagugwa ruoko. He's more likely to leave you. Yeah, I know. All right, let's go to this one is coming from Bla Jimalo. Mutiseko Bla Jimalo.
What is like maybe one just think that's all maybe what better my tell like maybe my late 20s or my early 40s or my 50s. Because you also that what I think what in any type of research I'm moving there I know it from my culture doesn't here.
All right, I don't know why we keep losing sound there. Okay, so yes, the research was pioneered by the University of Michigan, but don't make the assumption that they were only looking at American couples, and that's a dangerous assumption we're making here. Fans resources research, but they're not necessarily limited to just looking at American couples. So do you also teach Juju Kuchaira at home?
Yes, he does actually. Na auntie Kumba, although ndakamurambidza zvekumira pastove pagas stove because anenge achitodawo zvekubika ngati no apa you don't touch. So there are times where he also, you know, washes with auntie vari mukitchen noti ndoda kudididi, you know, and it's important for me because musi Sunday auntie vari paoff Juju ndiye anenge achitomhanya.
Love it. Love it. We're almost out of time, but if you have time, do look up some of these researches. I think you may find them very, very interesting. There are quite a few of them, just in case you think it's only one. And so far, there hasn't been anything to suggest that this finding is unscientific. Men are more likely to leave their wives when they're ill. Is that you as a man? Is that you as a husband? Elder Stonebridge, chakafuta dzimba matenga, I feel kuti rudo chairwo runodi kwamba mumwe akarwara haumsiye nokuti unomuda, imba ikaita se battleground hazvibudi, vamwe vanhu kungogarisana pasina rudo. So, does love truly conquer all? This is where we're leaving it today. Touch base tomorrow again. It's 12 o'clock. It's time for the news. Thank you so much, Maijuju, for being here.
You're welcome.